We have been to La Rochelle in France to test one of the most interesting new sailboats this year. Bavaria C42 and Oceanis 40.1 from Beneteau. These boats has a lot in common, but also some differences. They have their own strengths and weaknesses, and which one is the winner? 40 foot is the perfect size for this kind of boats. But these boats, they're actually big as the old 45 footers. More volume in the front of the bow makes this possible. The Bavaria C42 is a little bit wider and heavier than the Oceanis and has a taller mast and more sail area. Oceanis has a bigger engine, double rudder, and costs a little more. The enormous width of the boat makes the boat more sticky in the water, but increases the stability and makes it roomier. We sail the boats in moderate wind strength between 8 and 12 knots. With nearly 25% more sail area and a folding propeller, the Bavaria was a little bit faster than the Oceanis. The Bavaria had also more expensive and more advanced sails. If Oceanis had a folding propeller and the performance rig, I guess they will be more equal in speed. But even with the high performance rig, the standard Bavaria has a more sail area. We had code 0 sails and gennaker on both boats, and these wide volume boats need a lot of sail area in downwind in light wind. Both boats have self-tacking jib as standard, but these boats were equipped with a larger jib. If you want to sail downwind in light wind, you need more sail area than the jib. On both boats, we noted 8.6 knots as top speed. The Bavaria had a upwind speed between 6 and 7 knots, and the Oceanis was more or less nearly a knot slower. None of them had an upwind angle that was impressive. We made it 50 degrees to the wind on both of the boats. The size of the cockpit is quite similar on these two boats, but I felt I was sitting better steering on the Bavaria. On the Oceanis, I felt actually too big for the boat. There is a room for a life raft in the Oceanis cockpit table. I was missing good grip handles in the cockpit of the Bavaria. On the test boat, both of the boats had 4 winches. On the Bavaria, the standard is only 2 winches, and they're placed in the front of the cockpit, so you need spare hands for sheeting the sails. It's a lot of storage in the front. On the Bavaria, the chain locker and the storage is separated, and you can fit gennaker in the locker in front if you want to. I prefer the mast from Selden on Bavaria because it's for us Norwegian, it's easier to get parts from Sweden. And if you have a furling mast, I think Selden has an advantage to the set spars from France, which is mounted on the Oceanis. But I like the boom, which is mounted quite low in the front of the on the mast on the Oceanis, which make it easier to pack the sails. Both boats had a big bathing platform. On the Bavaria, you have this ladder externally, so you have to mount it. So if in emergency you have to get the ladder up from the cockpit and mount it, and to pick a person up in the water, you will lose a lot of time. Beneteau is using an Italian interior designer, while Bavaria just a job themselves. Both of the boats have huge hull windows and light wood trim. Bavaria has a more classical layout in the interior, with a galley as an L shape in the back, and a huge saloon with a big saloon table which can be folded out. The new idea is to place the chart table in front of the saloon, which saves a lot of space. On the Oceanis, the galley is moved forward and it has a normal U shape on the starboard side, while the saloon also have a U shape on the port side. The saloon table in the Oceanis is smaller. Here you find the chart table in the back of the saloon. I normally prefer an L-shaped galley in the back, but I felt that the galley worked better on the Oceanis. The reason for that is it has a better cooling box, which uses the volume more efficient, and the boat also have 2 sinks in the galley. The owner cabin is in front of both of the boats. The bed is a little bit bigger in the Oceanis, but both beds are wide enough so you can sleep with the head facing forward. On the Bavaria, had an extra bathroom in the owner's cabin, which uses some of the space. You can have this option in the Oceanis as well. The double aft cabins are huge in both of the boats. It's got a lot of natural lights and good ventilation. The beds are a little bit wider in the Bavaria. The main bathroom is in the back of both of the boats. It's a little bit more clever done in the Oceanis. Bavaria has stopped using vacuum infusion on their hulls and went back to the old way of doing it. The Bavaria C42 is made of sandwich, which makes the hull a little bit stiffer. Normally, a sandwich construction makes the boat a little bit lighter, but on Bavaria has a really thick outer layer on the sandwich construction, and that makes the boat actually heavier than the Oceanis. On both of the boats has quite a solid, a nicely done frame in the bottom of the boat, which are glued to the hull. I really like to see that Bavaria is now using composite hull truss. I felt that the finishing in the interior was a little bit better in the Oceanis, but the Bavaria is better in areas where you normally don't look. The Bavaria has a single rudder, while Oceanis has double rudder. Double rudder is normally best in heavy wind and heavy seas, but we felt that the single rudder on the Bavaria performed quite well. The downsides of having double rudder is the maneuverability in the harbor. And which boat should you choose? The Bavaria is cheaper, but it doesn't look like the yard is saving money anywhere. The Oceanis is a winner on design. It's a little bit more elegant and a little bit more trendy. So if you're buying a boat to impress your friends, this one is the one to choose. But if you really enjoy sailing and want to sail fast, you should choose the Bavaria.